fix my chin. Usually it's the camera. I look great from the front.
Oh my gosh. You know what? Okay, so this is an angle that you have to have. Oh, real quick, before we get much further into this, it's going to sound weird because you're going to hear this live stream on here. But I want to test the audio. Okay. Make sure it's not doing a crazy thing. Sometimes it does a crazy thing.
Well, assuming that you get this in time, I'll go and start talking, and there you go.
Oh,
you have my voice.
Sounds great. Excellent. So yeah, we're live. We are going on all the stuff.
Where are we going?
We are live on Facebook. We are live on Twitch, and we should be live on we're live on YouTube. Excellent.
I liked at the end of last week's Takeaway, you said, like the Facebook page, subscribe on YouTube, and follow us on Twitch.
Isn't that why?
And you're like, why is that a thing?
Why does each one need their own verb? Why they're all like, ooh,
I like how you phrase
be
that.
Special.
Everyone needs a verb. Like there should be a universal verb. Mm-hmm. And it can't be either of those, I don't think. I don't think it can be either of those.
Well, like all of them work for, like you can subscribe to something. Yeah. That's the same as following or liking it. Well, okay, if any of them don't work so well, it's like that feels...
Yeah, you can't like a Twitch stream.
Well, you can, but that doesn't mean that you want to get information from it every... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I think it's an interesting thing. But I was happy with last stream. I think it went really well. I'm anxious to hear from you people. So if you're there, Hunter King says hello. Hey, Hunter, what's up?
I don't see
Hunter's
on Twitch?
watching on YouTube.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be
you
great.
Have all three right there?
I
just have Facebook.
Separate. Yeah. Nobody's going to watch on Facebook.
Except your mom asking if you're going to take the dogs out. It's so funny.
Yeah, was the greatest, classic, mom
which is the only way you
moments.
can get in contact with you is...
That's not true.
It is very true.
That is not true.
I know whenever I send you a text, he'll
Stop
get back with me.
feeding into my mother's narratives.
3 to 5 business days is when you'll reply.
Business days. Goodness gracious.
You know what this angle shows me?
Yeah.
I look mad all the time.
No, you look
like
great.
I look annoyed to be here.
I don't understand. Everybody in the chat say how great Cameron looks because... I won't be weird at all. Because I really like this angle, and it feels like a really interesting, like, 2-shot angle. If I had... We have more than one camera, but... For whatever reason, the technology, like to interface that with the live stream, it'll work. Like both camera shots will show up, but after a while, like one of them will freeze, and we have to like unplug it, plug it back in.
Gotcha. And
so it's like two separate video, signals are too heavy for Streamlabs for some reason. What?
Look at the Facebook one.
Oh no, it's my mother. I told you not to feed into her
But
narratives.
she's right.
That's okay.
Okay, on the angle
And
though.
Hunter says Blaine never replies also.
Yeah.
But it's just
I love the angle.
I'm not going to address it.
I don't like me in the angle is the thing. I don't like my side. I got a big nose.
Oh my gosh.
I have a
Don't
big nose.
even.
You don't have
I'm
to say
sure.
anything about it. I know it's true.
Today, we probably should get to the content of the actual
Yes, please.
stream. Today, we're eating at our taco. Oh, man, I said it. Okay, so right before we went live, the whole reason I picked Rusty Taco today, you're supposed to pick Cameron, and you did not. And
I was stressed out about it. I thought about it every day.
We're eating Rusty Taco today, and I picked that because we shot a video at Mellow Mushroom for the kids ministry this week. I'm kind of super excited about that. Like we got to go like back in their kitchen, and they showed us how to like make a pizza and everything. It was super fun because their lesson is about the bread of life. And so,
logical solution.
Pizza, obviously.
Or a kitchen.
Yeah. So, but the people who own Mellow Mushroom, the Alexas, are members of Calvary. And so they also own Rusty Taco and
Buffalo
Wild Wings.
Okay.
And Arby's. So
I didn't know Arby's was included in that.
Yeah. So yeah, they're all over all your favorite
So are they sponsoring
restaurants.
this video?
No, I did not reach out to the Alexas.
Blaine loves it whenever you say that.
But yeah, and so I picked Rusty Taco. I have never eaten that Rusty Taco before. Because
you mean our taco, Blaine?
Kind of. Why would you want?
It's a weird name.
How unappetizing is a rusty taco?
Right.
That kind of sounds not so tasty. But I'm excited about it. But yeah, and so you called it our taco casually, and I was like, oh.
It's called our taco.
Well, it's not because it says Rusty Taco.
They changed that. It used to just say our taco, and I had to look to find why it was called Rusty Taco.
I'm the fresh one.
Yeah, it used to just be called our taco.
The newer name.
And you could find like in the restaurant it said Rusty Taco, and that's how I knew. But then they changed like the whole thing.
So. Interesting. It's fascinating. So we have some our taco here. I'm going to open it up. It's going to make great sounds for the microphone. It's going to love it. Also, okay, so I didn't realize that Rusty Taco is one of those restaurants that, what's another one? Like Torchy's. Have you ever been to Torchy's? Is one of those like little taco places.
So he called me.
Yeah, and so you texted me your order. You're like, I want a 1, 6, and a 9. And I read it, and I was like, surely he doesn't mean he wants all 3 of these. Like, that's like because in my brain it was like you go to like McDonald's. Like I want a number 1, a number 6, and a number 9. Yeah. For myself, that sounded crazy to me. So
So you called me,
confirmed,
and you said, "Did you want all 3 of these, or just one of them?" I got the funny. I'm like, he thinks I'm fat.
No, there's no silverware in this bag.
What are you gonna? You gotta go get a fork.
I might go grab a fork, and you might have to entertain the people. It'll be great.
We switch that. I don't know where the forks are.
No. We'll grab a thing later. But what do we have? We have.
So I got tacos I've never had here.
Yeah.
As far as I remember, the names are kind of hard. I have a. Blaine, I feel like you're more qualified to say what this is.
Why would you? Why would you say that?
You know I play.
Why would you say that, Cameron?
Rajas. Do you think that's okay?
I don't know. Okay. I don't know why you would just assume that
how inappropriate.
Know how to say Mexican words because I don't.
Picadillo. Picadillo.
Yes.
As potatoes.
I've always kind of heard it with an extra syllable in there, though.
Well,
like
there's pica
That's different.
See,
I told you, I don't know these things.
Gallo is that red and it's the tomato and onion.
Yeah, I know that one.
But this is picadillo. It's like potatoes and cilantro and stuff.
Why does it have such a similar name?
I don't know. I don't know Spanish.
All right, interesting.
And then I got the Rusty Taco, just the normal. I think it had like pineapple and pork. So I'm interested in trying
pork. It's like a Hawaiian taco.
I figured this was the time to try stuff.
Fascinating. Absolutely, it is. So why don't you dig into those tacos there? Take a bite of the taco. Tell the audience your impressions, and I will be right back.
So I'm going to be alone on a live stream.
It's going to be great.
Eating
just
a taco.
chewing silently into the microphone.
This is awkward.
It'll be fantastic.
Just please. So I got the picadillo. I think it had. I guess I'll save the Rusty Taco for last because I feel like that's the. I mean, if you name your restaurant off the taco, it's got to be the best one. So I usually get like just a beef fajita or a chicken fajita taco when I go to our taco. But Blaine said this was the time to experiment. So I got this one's picadillo. It has potatoes and ground beef and onions, cilantro.
You haven't even taken a bite yet.
I was trying to. Oh, gosh.
Fill time.
I'm just gonna take a bite.
Okay, go ahead.
I will say my mouth is salivating looking at this.
It looks delicious.
Appetizing. But you are on Whole 30.
I'm on Whole 30. So next month I'm doing Whole 30 again. But I'm gonna let myself cheat for one meal each week, which will be this meal. So I'll just let myself cheat.
Not Whole 30. Oh, okay. After Whole 30.
Yeah, right. So I wanna get through this 30. Like I don't like the idea of like not finishing a 30
because it's meant to be a whole 30.
It's the same reason why I always start Whole 30 on the first of the month.
It feels more like official.
It feels more whole to me. It's extra Whole 30, so it works really nicely. But what's that one that you got there? The picadillo, picadillo one,
something like that.
Yeah. So, that's great, especially for like. It's like a fast food restaurant. You just run in. Yeah. I got some tacos in like 5 minutes, and that tastes like I sat down at a Mexican restaurant.
It was super fast.
Yeah, and got fajitas. Like that's fantastic. So I got Just fajita meat. They make tacos. They make like fajita meat tacos with the pico de gallo and the onions and everything, like you get with fajitas.
Like a normal person.
They just usually wrap it in a tortilla, and I just got it without the tortilla. So it is fantastic. It tastes delicious.
It looks decent. So, the other one I got is called the Rajas. Rajas.
Yeah.
I know it's not Rajas. I know, at least I'm not saying. Well, so this was a vegetarian option.
How do you know it's a Hispanic taco? It might be an Indian taco.
Is taco not Spanish?
Well, like there are different foods that are wrapped in tortillas.
They do have like a fried chicken taco that I saw there. Mm-hmm. So this was a vegetarian option. I never in my life have gone to a location and gotten a vegetarian option, but I wanted to try it. So it's just got like cheese, onion, fajita vegetables, so like onion and bell peppers, and then cilantro. So it's
cheese, onion, vegetables, and cilantro.
I wouldn't have chosen it if it were my normal purchase.
I told Kevin, okay, you people need to tell me. I didn't tell Kevin. Blame Elio, Josh Hebert, and the Jadens because they are the ones who I said, that I told the whole story last week, how we came up with the name.
You didn't tell much about the story.
I said we have to call it something. We were trying to come up with a name. I said we have to call it something like Takeaway because it's about our takeaways from Kevin's sermon. Elio making like a word connection was just like, you should call it Takeout.
It's such a good name.
And then I said we should call it Takeout Takeaway, and we could eat takeout while we talk about our takeaway. And they all went nuts. And they were like, that's the greatest thing ever. You have to do that now. And I said, no, nobody wants to sit there for an hour and listen to us like smack into the microphone, like eating this food. And they were like, we'll deal with it. Like it's the greatest thing, like getting to watch you eat like this delicious food.
And are they watching now?
They're not. So
Josh Ebert's watching.
Is he?
It shows that on my Facebook.
Oh, hey Josh, what's up?
Josh, if you are here, say something in the chat so we know that you're actually watching.
Yeah, Josh, why would you try to be all secretive? We see you.
I think it's because we're friends.
Yeah, it does that where like it shows you friends. Thank you, Hunter. Hunter says brilliant idea on YouTube.
I want to know, like, are we smacking loudly right now?
I don't know. That's why it would be great to have like headphones. For these, we just haven't set up the system of like monitoring.
Would you be mad if I push this mic away whenever I'm chewing?
No. Okay, it's
cool.
designed to
okay. Because I will say this vegetarian option is the most moist taco.
God, different adjective. You had to choose.
Say a
that
different adjective for this taco, Blaine.
Wet.
You know what? You're right. That's better.
It's better than moist. Like, ugh. But what are you thinking about? It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. I think it's fantastic. We probably what time is it? Oh my gosh, 6:15.
That's fine. We can go late.
Yeah, we should probably get to Kevin's sermon. Yesterday, Kevin talked about Acts 8. We're continuing our series in Acts. Is it bad if I kind of completely forgot that we were in Acts? I remembered once he said
excuses.
I am the person who like cut together the videos.
Well, last week we did something different, right? We went through Matthew. We were in Matthew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we were in Matthew last week, and it was great. Fantastic sermon. We're continuing our series in Acts this week with a sermon on Acts 8 about, Philip goes down to Samaria. You can just throw trash on my floor? What the heck, Cameron? Philip goes down to Samaria.
Yep.
He's preaching to the Samaritans.
Uh-huh.
And, they end up being saved. But there's this one particular guy. I didn't realize how much extra biblical stuff there is on like Simon the magician, which can only make me remind me of Community. Do you watch Community?
Yeah.
The Dungeons and Dragons episode.
One of the best episodes.
Where Chang's name is. They're all making their introductions, and he's like, "Y'all are all dumb because y'all aren't doing it with enough like character."
Yeah.
And so, I am Brutalitops, the magician. And he, like, does this really like weirdly like flamboyant like magician's pose. And so every time I hear Simon the magician, it makes me think of that
Community.
scene of Chang.
I
from
wanted to see.
Community.
This sermon constantly reminded me of, for some reason, The Prestige, because like he wanted the magic
Just 'cause
trick.
magic?
I couldn't get it out of my head. Kevin specifically said like wanted to buy the trick.
Yeah.
And then for the rest of the time, I'm like, it's Hugh Jackman, and it's Christian Bale, and Simon is Christian Bale.
Oh man, I see the connection now.
Yeah, you should.
I wouldn't have made it myself, but I also shouldn't be making the connection to that
To
one
Community.
scene in Community. But
It's very obsolete.
yeah. But yeah, we talked a lot about Simon the Magician and how he kind of takes this in. There's this real opportunism to it seems like. Excuse me. To what he.
That's what'll happen. We're
yeah.
eating tacos, dude.
To what he. There seems to be this real kind of opportunism to what he believes, in the moment, the way that he's acting. I don't know. What was your takeaway, Cameron? What?
My takeaway.
Yeah.
So he said, really what he kept on going back to was the gospel being advanced under harsh circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me in Philippians, because me and a few other guys just went through that series on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, which are all on our YouTube channel, Calvary Church Southeast Texas. You should go and watch them because they're fantastic, and you did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the week before me that Dalton preached his sermon, and I made a note of it, but my notes sure aren't syncing between my phone and my iPad right now. So there it is.
Annoyance.
I really should have prepared more.
I'm sure.
But
you're
I
fine.
was listening to the sermon, and he was talking about the gospel being presented under hard circumstances. It made me think in Philippians. Paul talks about like he's in house arrest, and we would see that. I mean, a normal person would see that like that sucks. Like there's nothing good that comes out of this. But because of that, situations happened that wouldn't have happened otherwise. Like good things came out of that. And so I know that wasn't one of the main points, but Kevin kind of kept on alluding to.
Yeah, and that is for sure there. There is a real sense, especially in this period in Acts, what just happened, relatively recently was Pentecost for, the Jewish people. And Pentecost is a big deal. Often people would make pilgrimages to Jerusalem for Passover, and they would stay the 5 weeks. I think it's 5 weeks. Because it's Penta, I think it's 5 weeks. They would stay from Passover to Pentecost, and then they would leave after Pentecost. And so what ends up happening, there's all these people in Jerusalem. They say like the population of Jerusalem would like multiply by like 5 times, during Passover, because so many people would come and stay there from all over the world. Which is why it's such a big deal that they're speaking so many languages, in that scene. And so they all are here, and that's why they all have everything in together. Like right after Pentecost happens, 3,000 people are saved, and more are being saved every day. They're all joining the church. They're all joining together in this Christian work and community. And it's literally like if you went on vacation to Rome and like had this huge experience there, and you were like, well, I don't want to leave. Like I can't leave now. but I only brought enough money to be here from Passover to Pentecost, and so that's why like they have everything in common. They're really working to help these people who are here from out of town, be able to stay and participate in what they're doing. But then persecution happens, this really heavy persecution, and that's too much strain on, and that I feel like you could easily see in that moment that as a bad thing for the church, this idea of like, well, now people leave. They already were struggling financially to be here. They were going to leave eventually anyways, but now this persecution thing happens and they're just all dispersing. But in reality, and like I said, you can kind of see that as a negative thing, especially like if you were in the moment.
Yeah, for sure.
But in reality, all these people who speak all these different languages together, have like 2 months or so of really intense, community with the apostles and Jesus's and John's disciples, and they're all working together for Christian community, and they take those back home in their own language and plant churches all over the world. And so there's like Rome, the church in Rome is founded before Paul ever gets there. We don't know, necessarily how the church in Rome was founded, because all these Christians left Jerusalem and they went everywhere. And so this is a continuation of that kind of idea, this dispersal that happens there that is really a positive thing. Just recently, he's one of the major leaders for Team Rubicon, is a big disaster relief organization. I think they're like a national disaster relief organization. Certainly statewide, they help all over. And they came during Harvey, and one of their leaders who stayed here with us ended up being saved through that experience and was just baptized recently. And so it does point to this greater reality behind sometimes what we can superficially see as bad things that are happening in our lives. So yeah, for sure, this is another great example of that, thriving under hard times. So
yeah, and it's always cool. I mean, I got to use this as a reminder to know that exact thing has happened with us. Like, those hard times, they suck at the time, and we get all caught up in thinking this is the worst, like this is the end of the world. But after that, we can look back and see that period of time would not have been as beneficial to us if that bad thing hadn't happened. So I thought of Harvey, which really sucked. Like,
yeah, for a lot of people
who are close to me, and I think everyone who would be watching.
And y'all, right? Y'all got water. Like, that's the whole reason why y'all are rebuilding, right?
No.
Okay.
We were lucky enough to not be affected, but we got to kind of harvest, like, since nothing happened to us, we got to pour into other people. Yeah. And so we were lucky for that. But, like, I remember being almost kind of forced by my parents, like, because I wanted to help, but I also wanted to, like, sleep in and stuff, honestly.
Yeah.
And at first, my parents were like, you're going to come with us. We're going to go to, it was Calvary North. We had a distribution center where a bunch of people brought us different things, and people who needed those things would come. So it was like diapers or clothes or food, like dog food, water, just stuff like that. And so, like, I started going, and because of that, I got to bond with everyone else who wasn't as badly experienced, but were starting to become like sleep deprived, like we were tired. But I've gotten those experiences, like we're bonded together because we were suffering for the advancement of the gospel. So like if somebody came, we had a little drive-through area. So somebody came, they said, like, my nephew doesn't have any clothes right now. Their house got flooded, so I need clothes. So we'd bring them the clothes, but we'd sit with them and hear about them and show them that we care and pray for them. And we got to use that to where, like, people started coming to Calvary because of that, and we got to share those experiences. And I mean, I see that as helping other people and bringing them to Christ, but also strengthening our bond with the church. So,
and there is this real sense of community. You do really get whenever you're in the mud, and working alongside these people who are just like you, sacrificed their day off where they could
Right.
sleep in and do whatever they wanted to come here and work and suffer in the heat and the gross stink, and to do that alongside you is something that absolutely is a huge edifier for sure. There is a real sense in the story, though, of Simon's insincerity of belief. What in this story? I mean, Kevin enumerated several of them, but what in the story to you is one of the biggest signs of Simon's inauthenticity?
I was I was kind of confused at first. I'm actually really not too aware of this story before last night.
Well, it's one of those little miss it if you're reading too
Yeah.
fast kind of stories.
Yeah, like I wouldn't have been able to read this and think, oh, that's a sermon. Like the whole time I'm like, what is Kevin gonna do with this?
Yeah.
But so at first I thought Simon was like this great guy. Like I was kind of with him at first, just because whenever I first read through it, I didn't know like what
And I
it was
think there
gonna be
is.
about.
You almost read it as, and I think because sometimes reading scripture, there's this expectation to learn a lesson
Yeah.
from this,
Like there's a moral.
and so you want to see him learn a lesson, which whenever you kind of look at it more objectively, I don't think you do see. But if you're reading it with that intention, you can kind of read into like the way that he says, oh, we'll pray to God for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen, You
Yeah.
can kind of read this urgency, but in reality, like you look at the words themselves, and why do we have to, why? And it doesn't all. It seems like a weirdly, because the narrative leaves off like immediately after that. It seems like a weirdly like he never elaborates on his feelings at all, and so
You
it
can
is
even you can kind of hear the tone of it's like, now there was a man named Simon who formerly was practicing magic in the city and astonishing the people of Samaria, claiming to be someone great.
Which is great. Like I love Kevin's example of he was like, who just like walks into a room and is like, I am great. Like,
Right.
yeah,
But yeah, he kind of gets smacked.
he
Like,
does. Yeah, for sure. Prestige style.
Prestige style.
Yeah.
Abracadabra.
Why is this a problem for the early church, or is this a problem that we confront today in everyday church life?
I think most of the stories that we read that are 2,000 years ago, we still see application. So
Yeah, I think so.
I definitely, I mean, even for me, I applied this to myself because this isn't just you're either this one extreme or you're the other, but I mean,
You're not either Simon or the
right,
apostles.
right. You hopefully see yourself in the apostles, but it's pretty easy to see yourself in Simon as well. So I can think of times in my life where my motives weren't, Kevin raises the question, is there such thing as true altruism?
Yeah.
And while I was listening to it, I was like, luckily, I'm on the other side of it. I think a part of a Christian's walk is to face that question at some point. And so I've had to face that. And I'm sure a lot of other people have. But even when it's phrased that way, it takes me a second. Like, I have to process through my own experience. And so I can think of a time in my life when my motives for having a platform to be seen and heard and appreciated was more than wanting to advance the kingdom and for the better of others.
And there is a real sense of that, like this idea that I want to be seen as knowledgeable. And so I can think of a lot of times where I've been talking about gospel things, and I think it fulfills some part in us that wants to look like we have everything figured out. And so by feeling like I have some of the solutions to worldly issues, is there some of that whenever I'm sharing the gospel or whenever I'm trying to like counsel people and help them, it is kind of gratifying to have somebody seek like your advice, because
Yeah.
it is an indirect way of saying I think that you are a smart person,
Right.
which is nice.
Yeah, it feels
And
good.
so, yeah, is there any real altruism? And I think that's why Christianity, excels so much, especially once you compare it to other worldviews, because I'm not being a good person to be a good person. I'm being a good person because he was a good person. And so my, whenever I am working towards a Christ likeness, I do so for someone else and not for myself.
Right.
And it feels like if you are trying to be a good person for the sake of being a good person, it feels like no matter how you cut that up, there's always some kind of self-centeredness there.
Yeah.
And the Christian ideology feels like the only real true way to total selflessness. And that's a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think the way you phrase the question kind of depends. That's a variable for how you answer it, because you can say, is it possible for a human by themselves to have true altruism?
Yeah.
And I think the answer is no. I think
Yeah.
you have to come to the point of salvation where you're at your lowest. God finds you and reaches out to you, and you commit your life to having a relationship with him. Something changes, and you have the Holy Spirit. So, like, you pray that your heart breaks for people who don't have the salvation, that they think they're stuck in their sin and they can't get out of it. Mm-hmm. And so it comes with a supernatural ability through the Holy Spirit to not want to do something for another person because it makes you feel good, but because your heart will be broken if you don't help them, if you just leave them alone. And using the example of just sharing the gospel, like, if you know someone who doesn't know the gospel or even argues against it, as a Christian, I've had to pray a lot that my heart would break over that, because
absolutely, because it's not an easy thing, and that's what is frustrating about it is the sense of, like I was saying, I can share the gospel with somebody like with this idea, and it's kind of not easy to share because you have to really know another person, to empathize with them on that level, to have your heart go out to someone. And so you don't make those kind of connections terribly often. But I think really, working to see other people's humanity, is a really important endeavor, especially in the way that we work in the world as Christians,
Yeah.
So I do think there is this massive weight to the percentage of Christians who don't acknowledge that. Like, okay, here's a question.
Okay.
Is your faith insincere if you can't acknowledge that you feel that way? And if you can't acknowledge that you feel that way, does that make your faith more sincere?
What do you mean exactly by feel that way?
If I would say, oh no, whenever I share the gospel, I'm sharing the gospel because I love that person, not because I might get any benefit out of it. If I can't admit that, does that make that inauthentic?
My first instinct would be, that's a good question, Blaine. But I think I would say no, because, I mean, obviously that's a problem, and that's mostly a sin. I mean, you're putting yourself before the gospel, but that's something that, I mean, it's a sin, which means that you have to work for that. You have to repent from that.
But are they?
If they're not repentant, then I would say yes.
Are they putting themselves before the gospel?
If they are if you are trying to share the gospel with someone,
Because we're doing the same thing. I'm not saying that they're any different from me. I'm saying, that a lot of the times when I'm sharing the gospel, there is this gratification that comes from it of this person thinks that I have my life all together. And if they feel that also, does the fact that I admit it, does that make it more authentic, in that moment? Does that mean that I'm not sinning and they are, or is it, does that make sense? You understand what I'm asking?
yeah, I think so. And so, I mean, that's where I said I saw myself in Simon, because I think of times in my life when the priority to me wasn't the better of another person. And I mean, those were phases in my life when I wasn't doing my quiet time, when I wasn't where I should be with God. And that didn't mean that I was condemned. I mean, I didn't lose my salvation through that, but that did mean that I had a sin and I had to address it and fix it.
I have been. It's for research purposes, Cameron.
Okay.
Research purposes. I've been watching a lot of TikTok.
Oh gosh. What research?
You are a youth pastor now.
I don't
Cameron,
need to know that.
You have to be on TikTok. We're about. I really want to. We haven't confirmed it yet or anything, but I really want to make a TikTok account for the students, because there is. I kind of looked at TikTok before, and it was, it was TikTok. So I was like, we don't need this. Then I started, once it became a political thing to be watching TikTok, because Trump is gonna, all that.
Yeah.
Is gonna get rid of TikTok, supposedly. And then I was like, well, why? And so I started researching it more. And in the process of that research, found out that the real draw of TikTok is the customization. Is how well it learns you. And so just a 2-second encounter with it, which is what I had essentially before, is not enough for you to really, understand its value.
Because it has a For You page.
Because as you continue to watch, by understanding, what this content is, and understanding how much you watched of it, and if you went back to their channel or that, sound or whatever,
I'm following.
It can gauge, its algorithm can gauge what you like, fast.
Okay.
Like within a day, I started getting more Christian TikToks on TikTok. And so that's the thing of people say oh, you got into workout TikTok because you watch workout TikToks. Yeah.
Okay.
And so really quickly you get into Christian TikTok, which is funny. Like every 6th or 7th or so TikTok in my For You page is something from some Christian person. And I don't know why that's a long explanation to get to this story.
Well, I didn't know what TikTok was, so you had to explain it to me.
It is really interesting though, and so I do see a lot of value for us as a church to be on that platform, not as promotion or anything like that, but to put funny stuff about I can't remember one of the recent ones. Anyways, there are these you duet people on TikTok, and so they'll post a TikTok, and then you can reply to that TikTok with your own TikTok, and TikTok will play them next to each other.
TikTokception.
Yeah. It's duetting.
A TikTok within a TikTok.
Well, what gets crazy is people will duet a whole bunch.
Multiple layers till limbo.
And so anyways, so one of these popular things for Christians on TikTok to do is secular people will ask questions about Christianity. They'll be like, I don't know if this is offensive, but these are some questions that I have about Christianity, and I'm just curious. And so they'll go and they'll ask them.
On TikTok?
Yeah. And then Christian people will duet them and answer the questions. Okay. And it's really fascinating to watch sometimes, one, what secular people ask, and two, the way that they ask them. And one of the questions that pretty much every single one asks is, do you read your Bible every day? And there's this one guy on there who says, no, but I should. And I really like that answer. That's all that to get to that one point.
You had to explain the algorithm of TikTok.
Yes. I really like that answer because it gets to the heart of that feeling of this acknowledgement that I understand to say that like I read my Bible every day would be like a flex. And so I'm not gonna do that. Like I don't read my Bible every day, but I should. Like I want to. I just don't. The same way that like I should work out more than I do, but I don't. And so there is this real sense of, I think whenever you're evangelizing, there's a smart thing to do to really push it away from yourself is that sense of it. I don't have it all together, and admitting that to people, I think it really humanizes you and really makes the gospel attractive to people. And I think that if you're not doing that, if you're not humanizing yourself in front of the world, then like that's a big reason why we do Twitch, is just to show people.
We hang out. We play video games.
We play video games. And so it humanizes us and therefore makes the gospel, I think, something. Whenever people see that, oh, well, this ideology has an effect in your life and you're not a crazy person, then it could also possibly have an effect in my life.
Yeah. I mean, there's the spectrum of, like, we are living in the same world. We have the same wants and desires. But we as Christians are aware of those unhealthy wants and desires and have the solution to get away from that and have faith to last us until the end of our life. But we also don't want to be like these scholarly people up on stage who never mess up. Like, that is how a lot of people see Christianity, especially here in the Bible Belt. I don't like calling it that, but that's what people call it.
Well, that's what it is. Like living in California, I can tell you, it's crazy. Like the cultural ubiquity of Christianity, it's crazy.
So I grew up in Houston, which, I mean, I know it's not far, but it's really different. And, I mean, right around here, it's normal to go to church. I think when I went to high school, it was more normal to go to church than it was to not. And so I think here, the end of the spectrum is Christians are the same as me and act no different. Like, they're exactly the same. Then there's the spectrum of, they're these holy, divine priests who don't know anything about me. And that's, like you're talking about doing the stream, like, we are normal people. We use electricity. we use forms of entertainment. But while we're doing that, we're not being vulgar or acting, like you said, crazy people.
Yeah.
But we care, like, we're not just doing it to play video games. We're doing it. One factor that I like is fellowshipping with people I go to church with, and also reaching out to other people and showing them, like, we want to connect with you and things that we have in common and show you kind of differences that we have and maybe differences that you would like to know about. And that's our salvation.
Oh, Hunter says there's a buzz. Oh, well, I don't know how to fix that.
Maybe that's what that thing was.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry about that if the audio quality is weird. But is that the identifier then of authentic faith?
Is what the identifier?
This humanism?
I don't think it means authentic faith because...
Yeah, because I feel like in a way... that you can get caught up in being relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still have to, I mean, Jesus was relatable and he hung out, he went to tax collectors, people, and that's what our faith is based on. But Jesus also took time to go away and meet with God, have his quiet time. And so we also have that basis, is that we have a relationship with God. And that relationship stems out towards other people. It's not that our relationship with people brings us to God, but our relationship with God brings us to want to reach out to other people and show them what we have. So,
yeah.
And we do that by being approachable, relatable. Like, we're not going to bring anyone to faith being this stooge who knows every Bible verse and can tell you everything about it, but one who can actually has lived the life walking with the relationship with God and can lead others to do the same thing.
I think, well, I think the measure of authenticity is desire for God. Like, I think whenever you really, really desire God, you know, with everything in your being, that's the thing that you wake up and do every single day. I think that's very visible to people. And whenever you make those moves to humanize yourself, but you so desire God that it's inescapable to see you as someone who, you know, someone different than that, I think that really, you know, paints that real picture. And it's not something that you can fake. Like, Simon tries that in this story and gets caught in it because you say things and you think things and you do things that are contrary to to what you're supposed to be believing or doing. If you don't genuinely have, and it's why I think you get these Jamesy kind of, you know, books where faith and works, you know, well, we are saved by, you know, faith in Christ. If that faith is not evident, then, you know, you have to doubt its sincerity.
Right.
And so I think that the evidence for that faith is not just measured in, you know, if I go and help people during Harvey. I think that's measured probably more accurately in the little things of, like, and I don't like saying this, but because it, like, in the little things of, like, what you watch, you know, like what you consume as entertainment. And, you know, there are things sometimes you watch, they're like,
Yeah, that's like I said, the problems that I've had are waking up to go help with Harvey. That was inauthentic, but I mean, it came to be, I feel for these people who have been hurt. And that's not something that came from me. That's because I prayed, like, I need to be empathetic towards these people. And some people are, like, don't have much mercy or empathy. I'm one of those people, like, I would be the worst person if I was not a Christian. But through a lot of prayer, like, I see God working in that way. And so, I will say the rusty taco, delicious.
yeah, fantastic. Out of those three, which one was your favorite?
I only took one bite of this one. I really liked the rusty taco. It had a little twang of pineapple, some pork. It was great. You just got chicken and beef, right?
I did just get chicken and beef, but it was phenomenal.
Which one was better? It's usually chicken in my experience.
Probably the beef.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It had a
Wasn't dry?
more of a savoriness to it. In fact, it was so delicious that I'm doubting whether or not I could have eaten it. Like, there had to have been...
It might have gone against your diet.
There might have been something in there that I wasn't supposed to eat. But
Like what? Like a sugar?
I don't know.
syrup?
Like sometimes, like, don't you like butter meats? Isn't that a thing?
Yeah. Can you not
Like,
have butter?
No dairy products.
Oh, there's probably definitely some butter.
So, because, like, you like put butter on the skillet thing before you
Yeah,
cook it.
it was either that or like olive oil or something. But
Yeah. I can have olive oil, but I can't have butter.
you can have olive oil, but you can't. Why?
I can't have dairy.
That doesn't make sense.
Olives aren't dairy.
Dairy's not bad for you.
I can't. Well, I can't have it.
Okay.
So I didn't realize that Whole30 is about allergies. Like, my mom started doing it. Speaking of my mom, started doing it, and like, I didn't research. I was just like, Kevin, what can I eat? And so I just went off what Kevin said. And my mom was like, oh no, I have to be the studious person, and she found out, researching it, that it's really like you're supposed to like pull everything back and slowly reintroduce things to like gauge what you're allergic to, which is why dairy makes sense. That
I think a lot of people find out they're like gluten intolerant through that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Cameron, I'm very upset with you.
Why are you upset, Blake?
Because you're leaving us, Cameron. If you weren't aware, Today was Cameron's last day. That's awful.
It was a solemn day for me.
I hate it so
Literally
much.
an hour before I came here, I took the keys off my key ring, which was harder than I thought it'd be.
Oh no!
I didn't think about that.
Cameron.
I went to clock out. I put in my code. I hit clock out. I'm like, this is the last time I'll do this. So
That's crazy.
I got like 20 cents of extra work or extra pay because I was just sitting there looking at the screen. I was like, this is it.
Not wanting to clog out. How was your last day? Yeah.
I didn't really do much.
Wow.
We because they're waxing the floors in our building, so
Gotcha.
I got to go to lunch. I had a great surprise last night. I thought I'd gone to my last renewal, but I ended up being able to go last night. And so I texted Kevin because I was excited. I'm like, hey, tonight's my last renewal. And apparently, that was at like 8:10, and he probably started preaching at
Someone get a cake now.
yeah. He had probably like 5 or 10 minutes before he was about to go on stage to preach, but he orchestrated somebody going to get a cake. Logan and Megan went and got a cake for me.
That's great.
And came back and brought me a cake. Kevin had everyone pray for me, so I feel well sent off. I feel ready to move on.
You know, you will be missed sorely. So I'm gonna be sad not hanging out with you on Fridays. That was a
We'll
thing.
just have to make up
Just
for
like
it.
playing video games until ungodly hours of the morning.
2 or 3 or 6.
It's like you're struggling to finish Alex. Oh my gosh,
It's the worst night.
that was so awful.
But it was great whenever you were at the end and you were looking around.
yeah, that was a trip. That was an experience.
Plus you were sleep deprived, so it was intensified.
Yeah, I think I did fall asleep actually a little bit.
You did
that night. Yeah,
I was a little upset.
I'm so sorry. Well, that's because you were playing.
Yeah,
But you know, I can't be expected to stay awake if I'm not playing the game.
that's fair.
But yeah. And then the very first thing, the way that I met you for the first time was I started here working. And
I don't know what you're about to say.
we were doing a bunch of interview things. No, it's your interview.
Which interview?
We were doing a bunch of interview things whenever I very first started, and I wanted to put a thing of like getting to know people around Calvary, and so I went to like a bunch of different staff members, especially young people,
Okay.
and did like Isaac was here at the time, Valerio, and did interviews with a whole bunch of people, and I did one with you. That was the first time. That was the first time we met, I think.
Was it about King's Kaleidoscope?
Yeah, and it wasn't about King's Kaleidoscope. It was about what you do at Calvary.
It was representative of our relationship.
in the process of asking you questions for the interview, we started talking about music, and I was like, "Oh, so you know King's Kaleidoscope?" And then I asked you your opinions on. If you're not aware, King's Kaleidoscope has a song,
The Prayer.
A prayer, yeah. Where they use some profanity in it to like express this like real, intense feeling that they have. And I asked your opinion on whether or not you thought that was scripturally correct.
I remember being terrified about
and
that.
I remember feeling bad because I could feel that you were terrified.
I was like
about
17.
It. Yeah, and there was no way. Like whenever I met you, I would have said that you were 28. Like you were just the most mature person. And then, but yeah, we went through that interview, and you were like, my opinion is.
I had an opinion. I'd already thought about it. I remember
Yeah.
thinking, "Oh, I've talked about this before," and it just.
I think there was a sense
gone.
of you wanted to be careful about how you
It was a
phrase
delicate
it.
subject. You can, if you watch the video.
Yeah.
I think I was wearing a red shirt. My whole like neck and face started getting red. Just because I wasn't used to being on camera, I wasn't used to people caring about my opinions on stuff like that, which was like heavy. So I felt like I was a face of Calvary.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna get fired after this video.
It was so great. And then after that, we shared a really similar opinion on King's Kaleidoscope, and you did a really great job in your interview. And so after that, we just hung out
history.
and did lots of different things.
I've redecorated your kitchen, reorganized
Oh
it.
my gosh. I'm still upset about that, by the way. And
sure
this
you
is
are.
not, you're coming back and you're going to be on the Twitch stream in the future. I don't know what your life is,
that
going to
weird,
look
though?
like. No.
Is it
You're
weird
coming
for a
back.
youth pastor to play video games in front of people?
Kevin did it Friday.
Yeah, but he's a really respectable. Like I feel like I
Oh
have to
my
compensate.
gosh. Oh my gosh. Don't even. You're coming back. And
Okay.
You're playing, unless you're not comfortable with that. But that's stupid. So you should come back.
I think I might.
Okay. I'm so excited.
1 year anniversary. We should do it on the 1 year anniversary. It's in like December, right?
Yes.
Or January. We can talk about this later.
1 year anniversary. Wait, what?
For the stream, for the Twitch stream.
Yeah. Is December 15th. The only reason why I know that is because whenever I do analytics, I have to select.
Yeah.
Our first week is December 15th, and so
So what?
I wouldn't
December
remember that
16th is when I'm
otherwise.
coming back for the stream? Is that
Yes,
decided now?
You have to. Yeah.
December 18th.
Even though technically, why don't we make it the anniversary of your first time on stream? Because Manuel was on that night.
Okay. Well, wasn't I on the next week?
Were you? I thought Tyler was.
Maybe. This is a
We'll figure it out.
yeah.
We'll figure it out. But I know I'm upset about this, but we're excited about you getting to do that. What do you? I mean, this is a loaded question, so feel free to answer
ready
it
for it.
however you feel appropriate. What are your priorities? I mean, do you have a vision? Surely.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
This might be a long answer because I feel like
Please.
I have to preface it with. So, I'm going to Fellowship Baptist Church. Daniel Ward became the lead pastor over there.
Right.
He was my youth pastor.
Right.
And so we've kept a close relationship. A lot of me has to do with him. He's actually the reason I play music.
Yeah, I've heard that story. But please, no, go ahead. I don't know if these people have heard it.
I lied about being able to play guitar, and then he heard I could play guitar. I was trying to impress a girl that I'm still dating, luckily.
Oh my gosh, that's adorable.
But so he heard I could play guitar. He's like, "Hey, this Sunday, you can play electric, right?" I'm like,
Now, are we talking like you could play 4 chords?
"Yeah." So they're the basic 4 chords that people can play guitar. I could maybe play those if you gave me like 30 minutes. And I could
30
figure it out.
minutes.
And then I'd be complaining about my fingers hurting after. But so basically, just over the next 4 years, I learned guitar, I learned piano,
4 years?
bass, drums, and then
You were 13?
yeah, no, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It was my 7th grade year.
Wow.
And then our worship leader was leaving, and nobody could sing. No guys could sing. And so I was like, I haven't sung my 16 years of life. I guess I got to learn how.
I've never done it. Not one time.
So I confided in Dalton Washburn. I was like, hey, I don't know if I'm tone deaf, and I need someone to tell me that. So I said, just let me sing. It's going to be really awkward. I'm going to hate it, but just tell me if I suck so I know not to do this. He said,
Did you record yourself?
no, I sang. It was so uncomfortable for me, but
That's
it had to be
weird.
done. It had to be done.
You could have recorded yourself.
I would have hated that
Okay.
because I didn't know if I could sing. All right,
Okay.
this is going so long.
Go ahead. Continue.
So I sang, and he's like, it wasn't bad. It was pretty bad, but I wasn't tone deaf.
Oh, no.
I needed to make sure that I could at least, I heard what was coming out of my mouth right.
Okay.
And so then I worked with him over the summer, a couple months, and then by the time school started, I was singing. And I've definitely gotten better over the past couple of years, but
Because
so,
you
yeah.
sing and play beautifully,
Thank
by
you.
the way.
Yeah.
I love every time I got to go to North. It was super cool.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But now Daniel got the lead pastor position over there. He was the youth pastor over at Fellowship. And so I'm stepping in to take his place. And he's kind of reformatting what the church is going to look like. There's only 5 people on staff over there. So there's the lead pastor, Daniel. There's going to be the associate pastor, who is Julian is his name. And then they have a secretary and a children's director. And so I'm coming in to be, my title is pastor to student and creative ministries. So we've decided my first priority is on student ministry. Like I'm going to be a youth pastor first. I'm going to come in and kind of meet the students and the adult leaders, and my goal for the first thing is just to like get to know everyone and get to know what they're used to, and maybe change a few things and get them settled into what I have seen work best for ministry, which is focusing on discipleship. And so that's something we've focused on at Calvary North with the students, is really pouring out into the students that you have and not
Absolutely.
forgetting about them and just trying to get more numbers,
Yeah.
which We're not going to worry about how many people are there. We're going to worry about how efficient we are in spreading the gospel. And so I feel like with that comes the numbers that a lot of people are worried about, like getting enough people to come into your church.
Yeah.
Because with those confident
Well,
new
when
Christians,
you build up what you have, they go out.
right,
And
they will go out to their schools, to places I can't go,
Yeah.
and bring their friends to school. And so then from there, I also do kind of what you do here. So I'll be texting and calling you a lot.
That'll be great.
Doing stuff like videos, social media videos. I already have fun ideas I've always wanted to do.
Excellent.
As far as
I'm
creative
upset
stuff
that
goes.
You never talk to me about them.
Well, I
Cameron.
got to keep them for myself. I can share a couple.
No, that's fine. I don't want you to give
You
away
can
your
pay me
secret
for
sauce.
pay me for my tricks.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'll
that's
pay you for the rights.
kinda where I'm at.
Okay, that sounds fantastic, and I love the priority on building. Building who you have here, because that is so true of, like, really investing in who you have, and raising up this strong, scripturally centered group of young people. I mean, young people are the future of the church.
Mm.
And so if we really focus on centering them around the gospel, then naturally what follows is evangelism, and,
Right.
missions and work projects and Christian behavior, because that's who they are, and that what we endeavor to make their lives about, or to help them see what their lives should be about. So yeah, I think that's a phenomenally powerful thing. And we've gone over time, so we have to be done.
This did kind of
But-
turn into a podcast.
Yeah. This is a podcast. We post this on the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. People are listening to your voice right now.
And my smacking.
Hopefully without whatever atrocious buzzing is happening on here. I'm hoping in post I can
Yeah.
remove some of it. So, but I would love to pray for you before
Sure.
you went.
I appreciate it.
And you should come back a year from now and one, be on Takeout Takeaway, and two, watch this episode of Takeout Takeaway and see what you did differently.
Do like a director's cut.
Yes, that sounds great. Yeah, we'll just dissect it, analyze it like frame by frame. It'll be fun.
Perfect.
Excellent. So I'll pray, and then we'll close up.
Cool.
Lord God, it's a totally undeserved honor to be able to know and be brothers with such a strong Christian individual like Cameron here, God. I know, God, that you have poured yourself out into him, Lord. You've built him up to be the person that he is, wholly and completely equipped, God, to lead this new generation of young people closer to you, Lord. We pray that as he goes to this new position at this new church, God, that he stays close to you, that you would keep him close to you and never allow him to go far away, because apart from you, he can find no success, God. And that with you, Lord, and with your help, you would light the young community of Fellowship on fire, God. We pray these things in your awesome, holy, sovereign, glorious, good, powerful name, God. Amen.
Amen.
All right. We have to be done. I hate this. If we just do the stream a little longer, it will not be over, and you won't be able to leave.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Well, this was my last Calvary project.
This is your last official act. I hate this so much.
You're the one who made it happen.
Okay, fine.
It was a privilege.
We have to be done. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Make sure to send Cameron a message, chat, or whatever, saying how much you appreciated him and wishing him luck. Hunter says, good luck, Cameron.
Well, thank you,
Wishing
Hunter.
him luck in the future. So this has been Takeout Takeaway. We are done. And we will have Tanner on next week.
Tanner Hemmings?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm
I will
excited
be
about
tuning
it.
in.
Yeah. It'll be great. So, well, I mean, you're not going to be too busy. Okay.
What do I even do over there?
We're done. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next Thursday on YouTube, Facebook,